Welcome to This Week in Vegas, a bettor's view. I'm Marco D'Angelo, along with my partner in crime, the TV celebrity, the only sports gambler
previewed,
featured on CNBC's special on sports gambling. You know, what can I say, you know?
Thank you, Marco. Thank you. I've gotten a lot of response from that. I was surprised how many people watched it. But, you know, what's interesting, so many people told me, they're like, you know, anyone that's ever gambled, because they covered illegal gambling as a whole. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, anyone that's into blackjack or poker or slots or, you know, and sees that on their guide, they're going to watch it. And
right.
That's what's been happening. I mean, people that I haven't talked to forever are calling up and saying, hey, I saw you on CNBC. Was that you? And it was a lot of fun, I'll tell you that. I just wish they did one that was exclusively sports betting. Because I honestly had, I'm not saying they would have showed the whole thing with me, but I mean, we talked for at least 2 hours. No lie. I mean, on camera, videoed for like 2 hours. And I mean, I broke it down to them so much, Marco. The only thing I wish they added that everyone missed, this was the best part, I got to tell you. He started asking me about coming out here to Vegas because I told him, we got to the part where I was moving steam in Philly for the Sharps, and how I was brought out here to Vegas to run money. Mm-hmm. There was a lady from Gaming Control that was standing right next to where we were filming, and she was watching the whole interview. As soon as I started saying that I had a two-way pager and I had an earphone in my ear, she jumped up out of her seat, came over in front of the camera, put her hand over the lens, dude, and said, cut it, cut it. The guy shut it down. The reporter said, what's the problem? She said, we can't have any discussion about messenger betting or being an ex-runner. I said, sweetheart, I spoke to my attorney. That's in the past. I'm free to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And she said, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about us. We have our reputation to protect. And they're so against word getting out there that people infiltrated their system and broke all their, you know, them rules that they had set up, that they didn't want any parts of that. I only regret that they didn't get that on air.
Well, it was an absolutely great piece. And guys, if you haven't got to see it, they've been, you know, re-showing it on CNBC, and we're going to try to get a clip of the whole show, you know, to the website. But I mean, really, for all the people that, you know, gamble, this was the only professional sports gambler that they looked at and talked to for this show.
Dude, they want to see, like, they already knew. They did their research. I mean, they need W-2s. They need everything. They checked with gaming to make sure that I did place them wagers. I mean, they did their homework. So, I mean, not saying that I do make money betting sports, but it's not a lie. That's what I've done since I moved here. And there's a lot of people that have tried and haven't. So, I mean, like I was telling the guy, when I first came out here, man, there were maybe only 100 of us actually making money doing this, you know, and 10,000 that claimed they did. But, you know,
great
it was
piece.
fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know,
thank you. You had something big come up, too, this week. You nailed that game of the year, boy.
We nailed game of the year. But, guys, I want to tell you, you know, while he's being a TV star, I'm getting old, and I'll tell you, this is when you know you're getting old. I injured myself on Sunday watching the football game. Okay?
The game of the year?
The game of the year. And I'm going to tell you exactly the play that had happened. Whenever it was late in the fourth quarter, Cincinnati's driving. They're down 3, and I mean, they're going in. I'm going to win this game outright. They're driving. It's 1st and 10. They're inside the 20. They throw a pass out in the flat. The guy turns to go upfield and gets lit up. The ball bounces out and goes backwards on a fly, to like 20 yards backwards, and I jump up, and I won't say the you know the words that came out of my mouth, and there was 3 Chargers going for the ball and Carson Palmer. You know, I was 3-1 to get to the ball. And you know, the only way I lose this game, I'm covering it to spread at that point either way.
Right.
But if they scoop it and run it in, I lose. And I jumped up. I literally tweaked my knee on Sunday. Carson Palmer fell on the ball. They ended up with 3rd and 36 after everything was done, and they ended up getting like 20 of the yards back, and they kicked the tying field goal. If they don't have that play where he gets popped and it fumbles back, they win the game out.
Sure.
They had
they were in a position to win that for sure.
They had San Diego on their heels.
You were on the right side 100%, but that goes to show you why there's no such thing as a sure thing and why you always have to practice money management, because you were 100% on the right side. No one could tell me San Diego was the right side of that game, and yet if that fumble was returned the other way, you had a great pick that doesn't cash, you know? And there's people that step up too big when they hear these game of the years. And I know you step up, you bet these games. And I know your big games, you bet more than your regular game. And I'm sure you had tied up a couple big plays and parlays and even a little money line to want them to win outright. But the bottom line is, even if they didn't get there, you would have still been fine. It would have just been another day. It would have took a couple days to get over, but your bankroll wouldn't have been hurt. You wouldn't have been out of action, or you wouldn't have been in a hole that you got to dig out of now. And that's all I want people to learn from Game of the Years. It's great to cash them, man, but when they lose, they shouldn't be that significant.
It's X number of units. And the other thing, I mean, I had this game circled for 2 weeks, and I put it in my analysis right away about, you know, the thing with Chris Henry, you know, the tragedy with his death, how the team was going to react. You never know. But I had the luxury of, unfortunately, this is the second time this team went through a tragedy this year. Earlier in the year, when they played Baltimore the first time in Baltimore, their defensive coordinator lost his wife that week.
Right.
And he traveled with the team.
I remember you
on
saying
Sunday
that.
to go to the game. And that team responded with their best defensive effort of the year. It shows that this team is a close-knit group. So I didn't let the Chris Henry factor into me backing off the game.
Right.
Now, had I moved to candidate number 2, I would have been lighting my cigar 5 minutes into the third quarter, because it was the Pittsburgh-Green Bay game. I used a big play on the over in that game, and those were the 2 games that I came in. I liked, and it just was. I couldn't have had a better weekend. We ended up going 10-1. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right now, we're on a 12-4 run overall.
I got 2. I'm trying to. I think I might, dude. I think I'm going to unload a 5-star this. I hit my 5-star NFL Monday Night Football Game of the Year, and I like 2 games that much again this week. And I'm trying to see if I'm going to decide on one and step up and make a 5-star bet. I really am. But this is. I'll tell you what. I mean, we go all over the place with this talk. This is the best time to be betting, because so many recreational players are getting involved with the bowls, the playoffs that are coming up, and their fantasy leagues coming to an end. They're really into it. And the odds makers have to adjust for this, and public perception gets weighed so much heavier into the whole equation that guys like us could sit back and lick our chops, because we're gaining a point and a half, 2 points extra for value. Absolutely nothing, you know, just because, you know, the equation's this much bigger now with the public.
And I want to say just one thing to all of our listeners, and this is a show about, you know, me and you have fun and everything, but we talk and we preach and we want people to learn from us.
Sure.
And when I release the game of the year, and like you said, people don't always listen. They bet over their heads. Guys, I can't emphasize enough to you, and me doing a game of the year the week before Christmas just adds so much more pressure. Because I know that guys don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't. Not everybody bets with a set-aside bankroll. People bet on the come. And, you know, the last thing, you know, you have all that pressure. You don't want to lose a big game the week before Christmas and ruin people's Christmas. And I just want to say it to our listeners. Bet with your head. Don't bet over it during the holidays.
And what I tell people is, honestly, just take a step back and try to distinguish why you're doing this. Like, honestly, why do you bet? Do you bet for entertainment? Fine. Then entertainment costs you money. You know you're going to lose it. That's okay. But if you honestly are telling yourself that you bet because you're trying to make money, then ask yourself, am I taking the actions that someone that wants to make money would take? You know, because if you do that with any business, it's going to fail. Not sports betting. You could open up a grocery store, and if you manage it that way, it's going to close down.
It's a business, and every day's a new one. Hey, guys, this segment is too quick. We got to wrap it up quick again here. He's Vegas Runner.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays to all.
God
Be
bless
safe,
you
guys.
and your families.
We'll talk to you next week.